Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Quest Me, the Twist My Arm podcast that takes you on a quest through Star Wars legends and new canon. Mostly new canon, but sometimes legends. Anyway, I'm your host. My name is Josh. I am always here, and I am your favorite friend, host, podcast guy thing. I don't know. I'm losing it already. I'm so excited for this episode. This was a wonderful piece of Star Wars content, and I cannot wait to break it down. Of course, I'm talking about Skeleton Crew. This season, we are breaking down the new Disney Plus show, episode by episode. And by we, of course, I mean Justin and Phil. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey!
Hopefully you guys have had a good week and you're ready to talk some Star Wars. The episode came out on Tuesday, as it always does, and I know we're always a little late going live for these shows, but it gives us enough time to digest and think about the show and have a more comprehensive discussion. Yeah. What did you guys think of this week's episode? Phil, let's start with you. What were your initial thoughts?
I had a blast. It was a great next stage to the adventure. We moved on to a new location, met new characters, got a little more world building going on, figuring out a little bit more of our mystery, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. Justin, what about you? What did you think?
I liked it. Now that I think about it and having the reference as Smee, it feels like they're a bunch of Peter Pan Lost Boys on a voyage with Captain Hook running around the galaxy. It is absolutely kid friendly and feels so good to be back in where Star Wars should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, did I hit
Justin,
something?
I love that you mentioned that because there was a couple of other character references that I was picking up on this week. Just in terms of names. We got one of our protagonists is we're running into kind of both Peter Pan and Treasure Island references here, because we get Wim, whose name is very similar to Jim, our protagonist in Treasure Island. We have Captain Silvo, potentially as an analog for Long John Silver. And then in this episode, we also got to meet a guy named Benjar, who could be kind of our connection to Ben Gunn from Treasure Island.
Leave it to the pirate to know all the pirate references. I love it.
The librarian pirate.
No, let's be honest. Phil's a pirate first, librarian second. Come on.
It's true.
And you can't forget Crimson Jack, Captain Jack Sparrow.
Or if you like the real world analog, Calico Jack, Jack Rackham.
Just,
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Someone also had mentioned that the Onyx Cinder could be a reference to the Black Pearl.
Mm-hmm. Potentially.
Yeah.
I think, names like, words like black and something, referencing damaged things, or, any of this, it just sounds cool.
Yeah.
Sure. Like if you're a pirate, you're going to name your ship something that sounds threatening and cool.
Yeah. And onyx for black is much better. I would use, the onyx instead of black for onyx pearl. Fuck yeah.
Obsidian pearl.
Oh, even better, dude. I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's gives me shivers. Shiver me timbers. Before we get too far into it, Phil has been having a really good time with this season's Bar Far Away because it is so kid friendly. And my stepkids were asking me this week when we're gonna watch the new Star Wars. When does the new Star Wars come out? And I was like, this is awesome. This is great. It's so cool that there's a show that's actually like resonating with children a little bit more. I mean, I'm sure the kids like a lot of Star Wars, but you know, this is about kids, so it's definitely gonna hit home a little bit more. So, anyway, I'm rambling. Like I said, Phil is having a really good time with this season because every time he takes us to this next place, he gives us a nice little kid-friendly mocktail. So let's go there. Let's yeah. And we're there. We're at a bar far away. Phil, what are we drinking tonight?
So tonight I came up with something that's a little bit of a riff on a non-alcoholic Moscow Mule. So this is 1 ounce of lime juice, 2 ounces of cranberry juice, and 3 ounces of non-alcoholic ginger beer. In this case, I specifically used Gosling's. Just because, like, when I normally make myself a Moscow Mule, I use an alcoholic ginger beer like Krabby's to give it a little extra punch.
You mean like Ryan Gosling's? What are
Yeah,
you talking about?
Gosling's, the Black Seal, literally
okay.
one of the most famous brands of ginger beer in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, not actually at all connected to Ryan Gosling.
Clearly, I don't drink ginger beer.
But this is, I call it a Lost Planet. And it is absolutely spectacular. It is sweet, but has a little bit of that kind of punch to it because of the ginger. And the cranberry, it's also, like, entertainingly enough, relatively seasonally appropriate as we're heading into winter. We get more cranberry kind of things.
Nice.
It's really easy to make. My kids asked for a second one tonight after I had made them the initial
Nice.
like test batch of it.
Alcoholic?
You're like, we're gonna have to cut you off.
I know, right? But yeah, very flavorful, ridiculously simple, and again, ratios are easy in 1, 2, 3. So shake the lime juice and cranberry juice together if you'd like to mix them up. Pour them over fresh ice, and then top it off with ginger beer. You don't want to have the ginger beer in the shaker. Carbonated things in the shaker don't go well.
All right.
But for, those of you who like a little more oomph in your beverage, a little less of the mocktail, I also made an alcoholic version of it, where I basically did the exact same thing, but just added 2 ounces of vodka. So it is, in this case, literally just a cranberry Moscow Mule, but it is also it is also delicious.
So. Nice. Yeah, I was looking at that recipe today, and I was like, "Wow, that's pretty easy." I'm pretty sure we have ginger beer. I could have made one, but
I could do that now.
You could, yeah. Yeah. This is the kids' favorite one so far.
Nice.
As far as
have you been testing these drinks with the kids?
Yeah.
That's too nice. That's awesome.
No, it's well, like, if I'm doing like we do chicken bacon quesadillas like once a week, and I do margaritas for myself on those nights, and I've been making mocktails for the older kids along with that.
Gotcha. Nice.
Well, heck yeah, for the little ones.
Yeah. Anyway, if you do add the booze, drink responsibly. Otherwise, we'll have that recipe online. It's in our show notes, so we'll have the recipe for those of you to follow at home.
Whenever you go listen to the recorded version on Spotify or iTunes, it is in those show notes.
Yeah, that's Lost Planet.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. I should have made one of those today. I feel kind of bad now because I actually had the ingredients. Yeah, but maybe I will. Well, no, I can't. I got to drive tomorrow. I can't be drinking, but I can make it without the vodka, I guess.
Exactly. There you go.
We'll see.
Mocktail for Josh.
All right. Well, let's get into this episode. I did a funny kind of different synopsis. It's I don't know. I did it because the new character that we got today, what's her name? Kim. She is voiced by Aaliyah Shawkat, who is in one of my favorite shows of all time.
You
And
may
so,
be familiar with her.
yes,
Heyo!
she is in a little show called Arrested Development, and I'm sure that YouTube and Twitch are about to get really upset with me, maybe even Facebook. But you know, it is what it is. Just keep watching. It's okay. We're not getting paid Facebook and YouTube. This is all for you know,
Fun.
what's the word? Fun. That's the word. Parody purposes or whatever. So anyway, if you guys are familiar with
Non-commercial purposes.
yes, and if you guys are familiar with Arrested Development, you might enjoy this. So here we go. Now the story of 4 kids who got lost in space. And the pirate that had no choice but to agree to take them home. This is Skeleton Crew. Yeah.
That worked perfect.
I couldn't help myself.
That's really good.
As soon as I found out that Maybe was playing the voice of quite possibly the MVP character of this show, I was like, I got to do something. So this episode though, episode 3 is, gosh, I keep messing this up. It's titled it's at the bottom here. Very interesting, as an astrogration problem. It is episode 3 of Skeleton Crew. I'm not going to get into all of the fine details because I'm sure everyone that's watching has watched Easter egg videos and they all know who directed, who wrote it, who acts in it, all the stuff. We got Jude Law, we got some fun new kids, we got Maybe from Arrested Development, and we have Doc Ock, also Alfred Molina in this, making a fun appearance at the beginning of this episode. But before we get to all of that, we need to start at the beginning because this apparently was a little controversial. First of all, we're in the suburbs of space, which is crazy to me. This little city just looks like my hometown, and it's kind of jarring, I guess, to look at a Star Wars city and be like, oh, I could have lived there and rode the bus to school. Like it's just kind of weird. What do you guys think of suburbs in Star Wars, Justin?
I, I don't think it's out of the realm of impossibility. Obviously, they made it canon, but they got a little bit of everything. We've seen the slums in Andor. We've seen the city in Coruscant. So it makes sense to throw in the suburbs. But I got a whole nother theory about that a little bit later.
Okay, all right, we'll get into that. And in the suburbs, obviously, we have families and stuff, and there's all sorts of different families. And apparently, the latest greatest thing for Star Wars fans to hate on is the fact that one of these kids has 2 mothers,
Get the
which
fuck out of here.
me is insane. And if you seriously got to hate on something like that, then there's some deeper issues.
It is 2024, people. Come
Wake
on.
the hell up, guys.
Yeah.
Hating.
To be honest with you, I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice until I was watching
neither.
like some review video, and they were like, "Can you believe?" And I was like, "Come on!" Of course, that's gonna be a thing in a galaxy far, far away.
I was legitimately more interested in the fact that they were talking about her life monitor.
Right. Because now we know that they can like maybe track her, or they at least know that she's alive.
I'm telling you, fascist government, man.
Fascist. I mean, it's possible.
It is.
The idea that people can be like, oh yeah, no, I absolutely accept that there are thousands of different alien species, but God forbid there be gay people in space.
Yeah, it's crazy. So just so people know which side we are on the side of love and not hate, and that shit doesn't matter to us. So move on, Star Wars fans, please. Good Lord. get into the deeper issues, like what the fuck happened with episode 9. Let's
Right? Let's talk about some real Star Wars issues.
The writers.
So yeah, it's this whole suburb thing though, like you said, Justin, is we don't ever go back to this planet in this episode. So we could probably get into the conspiracy theories right now.
Let me go deep.
Yeah, the robots that are running around this city kind of worry me a little bit.
And they're all controlled by this supervisor that is mysterious that the admin gal hasn't even seen. Like
Right.
in this planet is a stray away from the galaxy and is isolated. Dude, it's ran by a computer or something. I promise.
It's such a Doctor Who plot, and I love it.
Oh,
You think it's ran by a computer, huh?
everything is so cookie cutter and perfect to a T, and if it's outside of the norm, it's wrong. Like it's too computer. I don't know how else to
I'm gonna
describe
have
it.
you, Justin. I'm gonna have you like go back and watch the music video for Rush's Subdivisions.
I've never seen that.
It's a good one. Yeah, there's something off about this planet though. And what's the great work? What is that, Phil? Do you have any like
I legitimately
theories?
love how little we're getting about it. I like that we're only spending a couple of minutes back on Atten before we bounce back to the kids.
And they're not
I
they're
think
not diving into it either as
Yeah.
much.
They don't need to.
Right. I think the most exposition we got today about it, or in this episode, was from Neil when they were talking about. He's like, "What do your parents do?" And they were like, "They're analysts." And he's like, "And what do they analyze?" And then that was it. Then they got kind of cut off from that conversation. So like,
It's all about money.
they could be analyzing money, but what if they're analyzing other things like cloning? No, I don't know. I've seen this theory floating around that they're
It's
going to
back
connect.
to Palpatine getting cloned into Snoke. Oh,
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's this
God.
theory floating around that this could be the planet that is figuring out how to clone Palpatine or whatever.
cloning.
But yeah, they're covering that in the Mandalorian, so they're not going to do any of that in this show. I don't think
I think
they're going to
I
tie
think that's
anything
too
into
much,
episode 9.
pulling from one to another.
Yeah, I think if anything, they will connect this probably to like the Mandoverse and stuff somehow.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they already have
don't
with
think
the
so.
pirates. They already have.
yeah. We
the
already
pirate.
with Vane, like just literally just Vane as a character being
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Yeah,
That connects
yeah.
us to Mando season 3.
Once he dipped out.
I thought you meant like connecting it to the movie and having them make a cameo in. I was gonna say that's a stretch, man. Keep them separate.
They still might. I mean, the kids might not be as involved in Mando, but what happens with Jude Law's character? You know what I mean? Like, will he have some sort of role in the Mandoverse? I mean, they're gonna all have to gang up to beat Thrawn and his forces. So what better like group of people to get on your side than the pirates?
Mm-hmm.
Now, and that same goes for Thrawn. What if Thrawn is going for the pirates? You know,
now you've got me actually like legitimately curious about like what Thrawn's connection is going to be to Atten.
If what if they bring in Talon Card in this show? He was a pirate, technically. I mean, smuggler, but like he was a pirate, and that would connect you to Thrawn right there. Just the books alone. There's a connection. So
here's the question. When they say it's the old Republic credits, are they talking about the previous Republic or like
pre-Empire?
Old Republic.
Pre-Empire, not High Republic, but prequel era.
Okay,
yes.
thank you for
prequel
clarifying.
Era.
The whole time I was under the assumption that like it's High Republic. I'm like, wow, that's fucking old.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the prequel era still, I mean, that Old Republic lasted a long time, at least couple hundred years, I think.
Quick, how long did the Empire last?
Like 30?
30?
Something like, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't very long. But they don't even know about the Clone Wars.
No.
Like they still think, I think what
Old Ron.
wasn't it this episode? Yeah, and Oh my god, yeah. That was with Kim, right? When they're talking to Kim
Yeah,
and they're like,
Yeah.
Easter egg.
"We learned all about Alderaan and Coruscant in school," and she's like, "Oh, sweetie."
Oh,
Oh, you,
honey.
oh, you sweet
Yeah.
summer child.
Yeah. And that's crazy to me to think that this whole planet worth of people has no idea that the Old Republic fell, that there was a Clone Wars, that the Jedi are gone, that the Empire rose and like destroyed the whole galaxy, and now there's a whole new republic. They're lost in time basically, and that makes them kind of a wild card. What kind of tech do they got over there? That
I don't
old
know
school.
if they're more a wild card or just blind ignorance and naivety or naivete,
Well,
whatever it
I
is.
think by wild card I mean they have like zero connection to anything now. Like they're once they find out the Old Republic's gone, who does their allegiance go to?
Fair point. Okay.
And this is a prime planet for like the First Order or the New Republic to be fighting over, because who knows what resources they have. I do think that this will have some bigger implications on things, but I think it's going to only go as far as the Mandoverse. I don't think we'll see, like I've been seeing these theories floating around about this connecting to the sequel trilogy, and I just don't think that's going to be a thing. But I'm very curious to
I
see
honestly hope
where
it
it goes.
doesn't. I'm fine with
Yeah, same.
just
Same.
again.
Keep it in this little Mando
let's-
bubble.
And even then, just like give us stories that exist outside of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Even Mando fell into the Skywalker trap a little
yeah,
bit
a
by
little
bringing
bit
Luke
by
in and stuff.
yeah, bringing Luke and Ahsoka both in.
Yeah.
But,
But
hey.
at least they've still kept to their main characters, and they like everybody cares about Din Djarin and Grogu. We all want to know what's going to happen with those two. So
I
stay
just
in your
want them
lane,
to have a
Nicholas.
happy ending and to get to ride a mythosaur.
yeah. Oh, just imagining that is so awesome. Mm, let me
Din
go.
Grogu on a mythosaur. It's gonna be
That's
him.
gonna be
him.
We've been saying it. We've been saying it since Book of Boba Fett, dude.
Anyway,
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. I love that. Going on to Jude Law and like his character. I love that he finally kind of came clean with this whole Jedi thing, where he's like, I never said I was a Jedi.
I never said Jedi.
Yeah. But where do you think that leads? Like, was he a Jedi at some point? Does he have some sort of connection to the Order? Like, what's going on? Because I mean, we found out like his name is Jod Nanawood, which is a weird name. But then he gets to Kim and she calls him Crimson Jack, which if you go into Star Wars canon, there is a real Crimson Jack in the comics. He looks much different than what our Crimson Jack
That
looks
was like what 1997.
So is it Legends or canon?
No, this Crimson Jack, this is from Wikipedia. Crimson Jack made his first canon appearance in the first issue of the comic book miniseries Star Wars Halcyon Legacy, which was written by Ethan Sachs, illustrated by Will Sliney, and published by Marvel Comics on February 2nd, 2022.
Okay. Oh.
Very recent.
Way more recent than I was expecting.
He originally
That's the 90s.
debuted in, let's see, Star Wars Legends continuity. Crimson Jack debuted in the 7th issue of the original Star Wars comics in 1977.
Oh.
Boom. Boom.
Yeah, so they brought him back
Split the difference.
into canon, and yeah,
That's fun.
but he's a totally different looking character in the
Yeah.
comics. So I'm kind of
different than the comic versions.
but like, is he actually gonna be like, look at this? That is not Jude Law.
Have you seen Black Widow in the comics? Hmm?
Yeah,
I
but
like
there's
me
still
some
some similarities there. Like this looks like the guy from Gangs of New York.
Yes.
the Irish guy. And Jude Law looks nothing like him. So is Crimson Jack just a moniker? Is it just a name that people steal?
It's the version of Dread Pirates Roberts. It just keeps going, falling
I
down
am
the
not
line.
the Dread Pirate Roberts.
I mean,
It
that'd be
could just be
interesting.
the titles being handed down, yes, for the sake of prestige.
Yeah,
You know, if you're a masked pirate,
that's
what
true.
matters is the reputation.
That's
Yep.
true. But
Pr-
everybody
told-
knows his face.
Right.
So the other thing, who else? How else is he referred to in that same episode? Captain Silvo.
Oh yeah,
So we've got
he's got three different names.
three different names for him.
Huh? He's gonna be someone completely different.
He is.
He's gonna end up like his real name is gonna be
Love-
something like mind blowing. His
He's
real
a-
name's gonna be Talon Card.
Honestly, if it was, that'd be freaking hard.
I'm
That would
down.
drop so hard. That would drop so hard in my book.
Give it to me, dude. Give it to me. I would love that so much.
See, now I just want them to never introduce Talon into like modern canon, just because.
It's gonna be when Hondo shows up. Hondo's gonna show up and be like, "Oh, my old buddy, Mr. Card, how you doing?"
I will drop fucking my mouth will drop and I won't be able to talk.
Your
I will
panties will
probably
drop
shed
too.
a tear. That too.
I'm holding out for I'm holding out for a Billy D. Williams cameo.
That'd be interesting. That'd be
be-
pretty cool.
It would
They
have
could do
but
it.
yeah,
I mean, they had
They
to
could.
drop in episode 9.
Yeah, they had to throw him in because they screwed up everything else, though. They were like, "Look,
Had
guys,
no
we got Wedge and Lando. Do you forgive us?"
But yeah,
No.
I mean, I'm fine with it not like being super connected to anything else. I'm good with standalone stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's Star Wars, so there's gonna be connections to something. You know what I mean? They're gonna have some sort of thread that ties into. I'm guessing the Mandoverse. Like, it's got to be. You know.
Mhm.
But I think it's going to be very small. I think that Star Wars is trying to find a way to branch out and do it successfully. And so far, I think they're doing a really good job here.
Yeah.
And it's not just, not just us. Like we pretty much just always love what Star Wars comes out with, even the Acolyte. But you got people like Star Wars Theory who just absolutely demolished the Acolyte and pretty much anything that Disney's come out with over the last year and a half.
Would
And now
we bother like doing a podcast about the show if we didn't actually like it though?
I mean,
We did Bad
Like,
Batch season
we
2.
did do Bad Batch for a little bit. But that's another thing is like Bad Batch was heavily praised by Star Wars fans. I seem to be the only one that really didn't get into it as much.
Oh, it finished on a hard note, man. I cried.
I hated it, dude. And speaking of Bad Batch, dude,
Yeah.
Okay, look, Kim is, like I said, one of the best characters that's been introduced so far. But when they were first calling her, I seriously thought it was going to be the lizard lady.
Oh,
I thought for sure it was going to be the lizard lady, and then the girl on the comm was going to be Omega. I was like, I swear to God, if they bring in her, I'm going to be so upset because then like they would absolutely bring in Omega.
I didn't hear that South African accent or
Well, there
Australian,
wasn't really a lot that she didn't say a lot, and I don't think she said much that would have been in an accent to begin with. So it was very like
Omega would come out. Someone would pick that up.
probably. But yeah, I was very, very pleased. I was like the whole time that the mystery that they were driving or flying to the planet and walking up to the Jabba the Hutt like palace. I was like, I swear to God, if this is her, I kept looking at my girlfriend. I was like, I'm gonna be so mad. And then, to my pleasant surprise, this little owl cat thing shows up, and I want one. I want I want an owl cat with a Grogu. Like I want one. I want it.
Every time you press it, it does the little squawk.
Yeah. Oh, she was great too, and
Oh, the voice is great.
yeah, and again, she's played by maybe Aaliyah Shawkat, which is great because she's got cat in her name. But is she a new species? I don't believe we've ever seen this kind of species before.
I don't know that we have.
I can't recall any comics that recently dropped that are having whatever it is as a species.
Right. Hi, Ricky. Thanks for hanging out. Yes, of course, owl bear would be better than owl cat,
Oh, yeah.
but we're dealing with what we got. All right.
And you know what, Ricky, you'll have to come back, hang out with us in a couple of weeks, and we'll talk about Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Wait, is that a
No, we
new
don't
thing
actually
coming
have
out?
something lined up. God, no, we don't actually have something lined up.
I was
Just
like, did you
talking about
schedule
owl
something? And-
bears.
I want to watch that, maybe be part of it. That'd be fun.
Dang, you
It
got
is
me there.
legitimately a ridiculously fun movie.
You got me there. So this
And
is
even our host can't keep track of what he's doing.
so so Kim, she brings up a lot of new stuff that we're learning now about this planet. She brings out the map and tells the story of At-Adin and
Jewel of the Republic.
yeah,
That was a new
Jewel of the
drop.
Republic. What do you think that means, Justin?
Oh, I don't know. I would default to Phil on this for lore. I really would.
I would guess that they're like special worlds. I mean, like I would say Alderaan might even have been one of them. You know, just places that were considered particularly beautiful or sources of some great resource. You know, home of some great resource.
They're spice miners.
Okay. But I mean, it's not a phrase I can think of coming across at any other point.
I don't think so either. And is the planet itself a jewel, or is there something on the planet that's a jewel? Because there seems to be all this talk about a treasure on At-Adin.
It's the great work.
I love this.
I'm
I
also
love this
thinking about, you know, hidden planets, and it keeps bringing me back to Thrawn and the whole map that we encountered in Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and they're bringing up like, what did Kim say? She was asking about how it's hidden, and they were talking about the barrier and the nebula gases, and how that could cover things up.
Which does kind of shoot down our theory about Nihil storm tech that we talked about briefly last week.
Yes, it does.
But it also makes more sense just canonically. Just, you know.
What if because on the map when they pulled it up, there were 9 planets. I remember the 3x3 grid.
Yep.
What if
only all of them were lost? Only one, you know.
What if Camino was one?
That would make
sense.
sense.
Camino explain away kind of the cloning, the loss of cloning tech, and
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of planets you could. I mean, Kashyyyk could be one because that one got lost. But are they talking?
They still know where Kashyyyk was.
They had a water there, bro.
So then, what do they mean by lost? That was my next question. Were they destroyed, or were they taken over by the Empire, or?
Well, that's why I think it would be
Mandalore
fitting. That's why I think it would be fitting if Alderaan were one of them. Because
you think Mandalore would be one of them too?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Did Mandalore associate itself directly with the Old Republic?
No, they hated them.
I mean, that was
kind of true.
Mandalore's thing was that they were just, you know,
they're independent.
They were lone wolves. They did whatever they wanted. That makes sense. Well, I'm loving this mystery though, because it's such an I don't know how to explain it, but it's like they're slowly unraveling it and just giving us piece by piece instead of like the Acolyte where we started at the end and moved our way to the beginning. We're getting an actual full-on mystery,
And
which is kind of cool.
I truly believe we're not going to get the answers within the first season because this is going to get greenlit for a second one. There's nothing but praise. But
I would think so.
I don't know. We're going to find out what the great work is, or what the lost plant or the lost jewels of the old Republic. Like, it has a lot of potential, especially
And again,
for
there's
nerds.
right. And again, there's a lot that they could tie in with if they're really trying to expand the Mandalore or Mandoverse and the Thrawn story and stuff. They could absolutely tie all this stuff into that. And like I said, it doesn't have to be the kids. It could be the pirates and Jude Law and maybe even just the planet itself.
I'm waiting for it, man. I'm really. It's next episode. Probably not.
So here's the thing: is I think that Brutus is gonna end up enlisting Hondo to find Jude Law.
Well, he
right?
did
Dude,
say
everything just got destroyed.
Yeah,
on
they
the pirate
did
planet.
kind of wreck up the place on their way out.
I fucked him up.
That little backlash from the fuel line. Whoa,
Well, you know,
it's dirty.
Katie said they said it was going to be dangerous. It was dangerous to go to light speed, just not for them.
Right, dude. And I wasn't expecting the like whip of the gas line or the fuel line. I was like, oh shit!
All that tension had to go somewhere, man.
Yeah, dude. And Brutus is just standing there staring. Just
I love that he doesn't flinch though. That he just like he can gauge that he's far enough back that it's not going to be an issue for him, and he just
during that. So you know how he says put a bounty on their head.
Mm-hmm.
What bounty hunter do you think we're going to get a cameo of? Because they're going to do that. They're going to give.
I think I've heard something about Boss.
For you and cold.
I don't think Mando's doing much
I don't
right
think.
now.
I think Din's got other stuff on his plate right now.
Yeah,
but
you got Bosk, you got Dangar, you got who's
Zuckuss.
The big guy or the fly guy.
Yeah,
Fortalom, the other droid.
That his droid. Yep.
You think Ventress will still be around as a bounty hunter right now?
Maybe.
Oh, that's a great.
It could be fun.
That would be fun.
It'd be a way
to tie in Omega.
That's
hang on.
Yeah.
Did Aura Singh ever get killed off officially?
Yes. They mention it in Solo.
That's right.
Yeah. What's his name? Woody Harrelson's character killed her.
Beckett,
yeah.
Yeah.
You're the Beckett, the one that killed Aura Singh?
Aura Singh. That's right. Yeah. I was just thinking of like old Republic era folks who might still be around, but yeah, no, she did get.
Yeah, which is too bad. And who knows? They'll probably just troll us and give us like some brand new bounty hunter that
I'd be fine with new people.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, that's true. I would be happy.
And here's the thing, from their perspective, new characters mean new merch.
They don't even make merch anymore, dude. You can't find any like.
I'm sorry, are they not still manufacturing and selling?
They are
action figures and Funko Pops.
Disney. About.
I'm just like.
Just go to Disney World or Disneyland. You will find all the merch you need and more.
Okay, well, I don't want to do that. I just want to go to my local Target and find what I want there.
Find a Black Series figure and
yeah, call it a day. But they really don't make as many toys as they used to.
No, but I mean the demographics are shifting.
It's true.
The whole.
It's true. And this, anyway. I mean, you look at Mando, and they made a shit ton of Grogu stuff for the kids, and I bet they make a bunch of,
we'll get some Legos,
Neil stuff.
You get a Lego version of the Onyx Cinder and all the kids.
Yep,
Oh yeah.
we definitely will. And
All the kids will be
buy it.
the
The Onyx Cinder is pretty freaking cool for a hunk of junk, just
That's
like the
true.
thumb.
With visible odor.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, hey, look at that, gang. Lego Onyx Cinder.
Did you find it
Oh.
already?
Oh yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Wow.
Look that up.
Just
Set
as
number
like, let me go buy that real quick.
75374. Yeah, actually it comes with Jodna and all four of the kids.
Oh, only
Wow.
$140.
Wow. That's kind of cool.
If I'm sad if it doesn't come with Smee though.
Let's see. It doesn't I
Does
can't
not look like it does.
It
does
may
not.
be because on my Ghost it doesn't display Chopper, but it
Yeah, but
reads
it does
in the
come with him.
instructions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hope maybe like that.
Nah,
That'd be
it
pretty
doesn't.
badass.
It just says Jod Wim, Fern, KB, and Neil minifigures. So
I don't want it anymore.
interesting.
Well, yep. If I can't
don't
have a
want it
Lego
anymore.
version of Nick Frost, I'm not interested.
Yeah, dude. He's great in this too. He doesn't have very many lines, but
No, but
I l-
he is bringing the energy. I love seeing him show up and stuff.
yeah, that scene where Jack is like going through the ship and he pulls the sword out of the old pirate, and then Smee comes
Smee
out.
comes along.
You find what you're looking for, yeah.
I still
And he,
love
like-
the I think the rat ate part of his brain line from the
Yeah, yeah. And he malfunctions, dude. Like he's a broken droid for sure. Cause like when he's talking to Crimson Jack, and Jack's like, "We're just trying to get to Ad-Atten. Do you know where Ad-Atten is?" And are that and Smee's like, "I don't know where the kids are from, but they're from somewhere." I. And then he like walks around the corner and pops his head back out and just goes, I. Like,
Yeah, I know.
like you didn't hear him the first time. I mean,
That's a scene from Captain or Black or Captains or Pirates of the Caribbean. He walks around the corner and then repeats himself.
All right, Disney, stop getting so self-referential.
I don't remember that, but I mean, it would not surprise me. There's so many references to other properties in this for sure. Just like we talked about at the beginning with all the different names of characters and stuff. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You guys got any other notes before we dive into these segments? I feel like the rest of what we're going to be talking about is going to be through segments. So
Yeah.
No,
I'm good.
I don't really have
Do
anything.
it.
all right, dang, that's I guess that's what happens when you just go right into it, huh? I didn't fuck around today. Let's just do this. So we're gonna start with I think my favorite segment of this week.
He's no good to me dead.
He will not be permanently damaged.
It's Boba's Bounty, the part of the show where we talk about our favorite new character, ship, planet, something from Skeleton Crew. Justin, let's start with you and your Boba's Bounty, which is, the best.
Lovely Kim, the owl cat. I mean, we touched on her quite a bit earlier, but she's just a fun character. She has all of her, I wouldn't call it junk, but trinkets within her household from thousands of planets. And the new term, at least to me, was the astrographer or whatever that was.
Astrogation.
Thank you.
Astro navigation.
And how like witty she was to pick up on the badge on her or on the
Baby's
kid
bag.
being the first kid, and you're like, wow, this owl cat is observant. Go figure. And piecing it together, and then somehow popping up a few coordinates of what planet this could possibly be. And I'm sure there's like 10 planets on that little data card, but still. How she jumps in and like assaults Jude Law and then starts to squawk. Wah!
Yeah.
And then like she takes the time at the end to like have a civilized conversation with KB and then tells him like, if you need anything, I'm always here. So like she's a very sympathetic, like lovable character. But obviously don't mess around with her. She'll claw your eyes out, Jude Law.
Right. What like what is she? Is she just a navigation expert? Like what?
I mean, she lives in like
A moon?
Observatory.
an observatory. Yeah.
So she's I was just trying to figure out like what she is. You know, like she's
She's
not
a
a bounty
cartographer.
hunter. She's not a pirate. Oh, a cartographer. Okay, that makes sense.
She deals with
Oh.
the maps. That's her
That makes sense.
thing.
All right.
I mean,
Yeah, I could see it. Yep.
Yeah, she was a very high point of this episode. For
yeah,
sure.
no,
I
phenomenal.
hope we see more of her.
Well done effects for her. I
Yes.
just
And the voice was perfect. I think maybe did a wonderful job with the squawks and the squeals and like yeah, and I loved her telling the story to the kids about everything and like just a great character that has to come back. Like they got to bring her back for at least a few episodes. I would
They
watch
should.
a whole show about her, dude. Are you kidding me?
I mean, it was
So
cool how
awesome.
she tied in a little bit of the lore to the giant puzzle pieces that were missing, but still
Yeah.
left it open ended. Like it
Yeah.
was a good character, and she's actually a great character. I really
Yeah.
do hope we see her.
Yeah, agreed. Let's move on to Phil's Boba's Bounty. Obviously, excellent pick, Justin. I feel like all of us would have picked her for Boba's Bounty, but yeah. So Phil's Boba's Bounty this week was Benjar. I couldn't really get a good shot of him.
he's not particularly well lit at any point in his scenes.
No.
But I mean that's a testament to the way that Captain Silvo is or Ninja Na is digging through trying to sneak around and find Smee. So
Right. Yeah, he's pretty awesome though.
yeah, and I know y'all are all equally excited that I am because of Alfred Molina showing up to do a voice in Star Wars.
That has to have been like he was on the set of Spider-Man and they were like, "Hey man, you wanna do us a solid? We're looking for a voice."
No,
I honestly didn't even know it was him until afterwards, till like I
Yeah.
saw the credits. I was
Nope.
like, who the hell did he play?
I thought he was a pod racer.
I mean, he could be for sure. That's funny. Yeah, he doesn't really he doesn't have a lot of screen time in this or anything like that, but
No, but apparently, I guess he's using a battle droid leg as a cane.
I didn't even notice that.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
That's funny.
it's little details, man.
like a
It's
Yeah.
B1 or a B2?
a B1.
Oh, that's fucking
Interesting.
great.
Yeah.
I bet he shows up again too at some point, just
I'm sure
because he
more-
was
I love that he tossed us a little more of Captain Silva's backstory. Like, oh, and right before your trial, it's like, hey,
yeah.
real world pirate crews were actually very democratic. So
Mhm.
the idea of the pirates holding a trial to hold their captain for account when he screwed up a raid that badly actually has real world historical precedent too.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's got
So-
merit.
But yeah, and like I said, if his name Benjar is any kind of potential reference to Ben Gunn from Treasure Island, then even more, pirate connections.
Yeah.
But
It's so awesome.
who
Everything
is-
about this whole pirate thing is just it's I love it. Pirates in Star Wars. I loved it in Mando, and I'm so glad that they're expanding on that in Skeleton
Yeah.
Crew.
So yeah, no, it was fun to see him, fun to hear Alfred Molina just showing up doing stuff.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Justin?
I was gonna ask Phil, who was Ben Gunn to the main story? Was that the first?
In Treasure Island, Ben Gunn was the member of Silver's crew who got left behind on the island. He was the one pirate who was marooned on the island, who was there then when they arrived, and who sided with Jim and the rest of the crew, the rest of the protagonists against Long John Silver and his pirates.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that would sort of fit this.
He's the old man who's basically gone crazy by the time Jim and everybody get to the island.
He has cabin fever.
I've got it too. Upstairs, lads. This is my only number.
Thank you.
Let's get Tim Curry in Star Wars, please.
Oh, that'd be awesome. It's been a long time since I've watched Treasure Island or anything like that.
That's one of my
watched
favorites.
Muppet Treasure Island last week.
I watched The Goonies last week, which was a wonderful experience again. Love that show. But
Sean
excellent
Astin
pick
and
on that
Kiki
one.
Kwan are getting a reunion later.
Oh, excellent pick for sure.
Yeah.
He another character that I hope we see a little bit more of. Definitely. I'm gonna go on to my pick, which he's not necessarily new to this episode, but he is new in general. It's Jod Wood, Crimson Jack, Jude
Captain
Law,
Silvo.
Captain Silvo, whichever. I think Jude Law is doing a phenomenal job being this kind of character, being like the scoundrel that's trying to pull one over these, naive kids because there's some crazy treasure that he thinks he's going to find. He's using the Jedi thing,
The
to his advantage. Like he's got some sort of force usage, which I'm still very curious to know where that comes from.
How and why.
How did he learn how to use the force? Is it something that did he spend some time with some Jedi? Like what's going on there?
It was
Because
a weekend retreat with Bendu.
It was great. They did a ropes course. They had some meditation time. They learned some basic telekinesis.
oh my god! But like, are there any characters that any like characters that are maybe connected to pirates that have
Han Solo.
Shut up. Han Solo couldn't use the force.
But he reminds me of a Han. He's lovable,
Right.
He's crooked at the same time.
He eventually undergoes Jedi training, but Corran Horn from the X-Wing novels, because Corran eventually developed some force abilities and found out that he actually had a family history of Jedi connection, but that was 9 books into that series when that whole bit came out.
You can always do Poe Dameron being born underneath that tree, the Bodhi tree, or
Hey,
whatever.
hey,
Oh my god,
that's
that was
good.
that was such a. I had this whole 1,000-word essay written out about how Poe Dameron was a force user. Oh my god,
You did. Yes.
all because of that comic where I have that issue where you learn that he spent a ton of time under this force tree, and I was like, oh my god, he's got to be a Jedi. He's
Hey, maybe it's his pilot skills like Luke.
I think that's much more likely that
Yeah.
he got his skills through the force. So I'm really enjoying Jude Law's character though, and I think he's doing a fantastic job mixing seriousness with comedy and a little bit of mystery. You know what I mean? We're still trying to figure out who this guy is, what he wants, and how he's gonna get it. So
Maybe he pulled a talented Mr. Ripley and just replaced a Jedi.
See, I like that too. That's awesome.
Yeah, but that means that somewhere there's a Star Wars version of Matt Damon running around. And that's horrible.
He's the next cameo to show up, I'm sure.
Maybe he
Blindfolded lightsaber
uses
training.
strings and magnets and whatnot.
Haja Estri Jedi.
Speaking of that, we're gonna go into our next segment, which is newer. I just kind of slapped this thing together today and was like, "Hey guys, you want to do a different segment tonight?" And I haven't figured out what to call it yet or anything like that. I will be done by next week. But this segment, we are going to talk about our favorite Easter eggs from this episode. There's a lot. There's a ton of Easter eggs and references and stuff like that. But we each picked one Easter egg to talk about. And let's start with Phil. What is your favorite Easter egg of this episode?
Oh, so I gotta say, in the droid repair shop, as you know, Captain Silvo Jatna is wandering around, he bumps into a B1 battle droid.
That's
And
right.
dude, the droid wakes up and says, "Did we win?"
And then falls apart.
It just falls
It
apart.
just collapses. It was so great. It was so great to just have that little nod back to episode 1, back to the very beginning of the Clone Wars.
I mean, that means that someone just picked that droid up off the ground one day, was like, "This looks cool," turned him off, picked him up, and has kept him in that storage locker for years.
He's been deactivated for
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah. But then in that same scene, though, we had the other droid that he wakes up and he says, "The prince is in danger. The prince is in danger." And I thought that was a really interesting thing to say. And Justin brought up, I was like, "Who's the prince?" And Justin was like, "What if it's Prince Shizor?" And how cool would that be?
And I'm still I'm legitimately bummed that we never got a live action Shadows of the
Shadows.
Empire.
That was great. Great
Dude, they
story.
could
Such a
still
great
do it
story.
though. You could
Such
still
a great
do it.
story.
You could make that canon and just set it, in between. What is it? In between A New Hope and Empire, or was it in between Empire and Jedi? I can't remember which.
It was between Empire and Jedi.
Okay, but you could do that.
Like
It's a total spin-off story that has different characters. Yeah, a couple of the originals showed up, but you don't need to have them in there.
I mean, it was Luke and Han and Leia and Chewie and Lando.
Yeah, you don't need them.
we're just getting a Dash Rendar story.
Yeah. Yes.
It's the beginning.
Yes, that'd be so cool. But anyway, excellent pick for your Easter egg this week.
The goofy little because they were never threatening. It's a B1. They're not anything that scary.
Right. They never were. Even when I was a kid and there was hundreds of thousands of them, no. Just target practice.
I mean, if Jar Jar can take you out, then how big of a threat are you?
Right?
A -1.
Great pick for your favorite
Thank you.
Easter egg this week. Justin, what was you kind of touched on it a little bit before we dove into the segment, but what was your favorite Easter egg?
If you guys remember in Obi-Wan, the Haja Estir, he's a fake Jedi that uses magnets. And the crew of the skeleton crew, that sounded weird, mentioned that maybe they're using propellers or strings or magnets, and that connection just made me chuckle. But here's one that I just saw. The emblem on her backpack of being like the president of the class looks damn close to the emblem of Star Tours at Disney World, Landon World.
There's a lot of Star Tours references in this.
Yeah. No, they're having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, the droid that drives the bus, I think, was in Star Tours.
Yes.
And the sound on the bus is the sound from the Star Tours door or whatever.
I was just looking behind me to see if I had the pin to show it, but I don't have the right one. I don't.
I did like they brought up a whole new mystery with that because Kim had said, I've never seen an old Republic symbol mixed with I can't remember what race she said, but it was two different symbols from two different species mixed together. And she's like, I've never seen that before. So another weird small piece to that Atten mystery that we got. But I love that pick of him
Just
faking the Force, dude. Like that was such a fun part of Obi-Wan too. I didn't even think about that whenever, yeah.
oh yeah, Camille
Here's the question.
Nanjiani just magnets to pull his
Yeah.
comm link
Yeah.
across the room.
Question for Phil here, because I figured you would know this. Do they use really thin string in the originals?
There's
They
definitely
bounce.
there's definitely like props and things held with fishing line, but that's like an old movie trick that's been around for.
Oh yeah. And the TIE fighters were held up by fishing wire in like a New Hope and stuff. They
Oh
were
yeah,
holding
yeah.
up
No,
that,
any of the times when you see the ships like from the outside.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So my Easter egg this week was from Empire Strikes Back, and it's basically a flipped version of Han and Lando. Because in Empire Strikes Back, Han says, "We're gonna go see an old friend," and then Lando betrays him. So in this, Jude Law says, "I'm gonna go see an old friend," and Kim ends up calling the Republic. And it's a total callback to when Lando called the Empire to turn him in. And I thought that was a really subtle but great callback to Empire Strikes Back.
Very much so.
I thought you were gonna go along the lines of the AT-AT trip.
With the fuel line at the beginning.
Yeah,
Oh man,
you hinted at what you were gonna do, but you didn't say it. All right, that was a really good one. Damn you! Never caught on.
I was pretty just, and this show is chock full of all that stuff. Just those little subtle, references, and I'm really enjoying it. John Watts has done a great job with this show. So, next week I'll make sure to have a fun little opening video for that, and we'll have to think of a name this week for the Easter egg segment. So, anyone out there listening, if you have a really fun name for an Easter egg segment, and Ricky,
I'm looking at you.
Don't be weird about it, okay?
You can't ask Ricky to not be weird.
All that being said,
weird's all he's got.
Let's move on to our next segment, which, as always, is it's the Starlight Killer Scene, the part of the show where we talk about our favorite still shot of each episode of Skeleton Crew. Last segment, I think we started with Phil, so we're going to go and start with Justin this time. His shot comes in at the 30-minute and 40-second mark. Tell us about this shot.
The wide shot of the Blue Squadron X-Wings flying in front of the moon or whatever that is. It just is reminiscent of E.T. to me. It looked so cool. And then the next few seconds, they bring it in closer to the Blue Squadron, and it's still badass.
Oh,
but just looking at the planet, it's just beautifully done. It looks like it's Jupiter's eye and how everything's swirling around.
The gas giant in the background there. That is such a sweet shot.
Yeah, it's like a Star Wars Jupiter, I feel like. And there's like an eye right there.
I think Phil said it best. It's a gas giant.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep. I loved it. I just love we got to see X-Wings. It's always fun to see X-Wings.
I'm still a little bummed that we didn't actually get our buddies in there from Mando, but
you're talking yeah.
They're the part of the same squadron. They're Blue Squadron. You could tell by the blue stripes on their X-Wing.
Yep.
So
Also-
we need Carson Teva and Zeb.
Was
Soon.
that John Favreau's voice?
Might have been.
In one of the pilots sounded very, very similar to Favreau. It was like Happy Hogan in there.
He's busy
Um,
talking to Deadpool, leave him alone.
But yeah, just seeing X-Wings in this was great. Even if those are the only X-Wings we see, which it's not going to be, but if those are the only ones we see, I'm cool with it. That's great.
They're the cops of the universe or the galaxy, man.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
Oh, now, and
As-
I'm going to say this because Ricky's in the chat. Ricky, we need a Star Wars version of the show Cops where it's just like the blurry, like body cam footage of the X-Wing pilots going around.
you can even do that with Jedi too.
No,
Like,
it'd be
oh
so
my
much more fun with
God.
just like somebody like skids into a landing during a chase and like breaks off the landing gear of their X-Wing. And
I think we should, dude. What about stormtroopers
it's,
doing
I
that?
mean, you could do an Empire
Like
version
any
of
sort
it.
of
You
cop?
could do. You could,
Oh, that's brilliant! I love that,
Really is.
dude. Get on the ground! Get on the ground! It's just like some aliens.
He's running. He's running.
What's in your pockets? Oh, look at that! It looks like about a quarter
death
ounce of
sticks, man,
spice.
of course.
Yeah, I got some death sticks, some spice. What are you
Don't
doing?
make me
here?
blast you.
There's a school right around the corner, man.
Stun him. Stun him.
I love that. I love that. I also really enjoyed your Starlight Killer scene this week, Justin. Thank you for that pick. Phil, yours comes in at the 20-minute and 50-second mark. Also, another silhouette.
And
But a wonderful one.
again, we get the gas giant in the background
Mhm.
because shot from the same moon. But the lineup of the kids walking behind John Na is so good. It is such a like quintessential 80s adventure shot. It could be Stand By Me. This could be
that's what I
E.T.
was
This could be, any of these stories of these kids going off on an adventure, and you just get the lineup of them so you can see all of them hanging out together. It's such a good shot.
It also reminds me of Spaceballs. Ding,
Yes.
ding, 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 ding.
See, you said Stand By Me, and I'm like, oh, memory unlocked.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
No, it's a great pick, and this whole moon was a fun place to visit.
It really was. For as much of our episode as took place on this moon, we got some really good shots out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And even just the palace part of it with the Jabba eyes that come out.
The little tattle droids.
I was waiting for the Ichuta. No, it spoke common. I was disappointed.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
was
loved
the best part though, that it wasn't the standard voice, that it was just like Kim.
It was
talking
Kim's.
through 'em.
Yeah. And I love when he's standing there with the kids and she's like, and he brought a bunch of kids. I hope they're not all yours. It just kind of made
Especially
me
with
think
Neil.
That's exactly. I was like, oh my God, that's such a Star-Lord thing to do. Like, it was only one time, man.
You there, man who was laid with an Oscafarian.
Yeah, oh man, that's so funny. It was a great line. Also a great pick, Phil. I
had a tough choice. I had a tough time picking between that one and the one Justin ended up picking. So
yeah. I decided, since you guys both went silhouettes, I went to a different kind of shot, and my shot comes in at the 11-minute and 54-second mark. It is of the Skeleton Crew.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great.
And this is just a cool background shot. Like this would be a fun shot on your phone or whatever. Like it's a good. They big chilling right now.
I mean, that's just
look at Neil.
Kids.
Neil just with his arm just casually on his leg, like he's
KB's visors up. Neil's just chilling.
Yeah, it reminds me of, like you said, being a kid and and hanging out at someone's house, just
being
doing
bored,
nothing.
waiting for an adult to come do something.
Yeah, waiting for something to happen. And just their whole conversations, and nuh-uh, and
He's
it was,
totally a Jedi.
yeah, exactly.
Little
This
did
is
we
where that-
know, in 10 years they'll be smoking spice in the basement.
Unfortunately, young Neil fell into a heavy spice addiction.
Young Neil,
Oh
you
yeah,
are now just Neil.
right. But I loved that photo of them.
Oh
sitting
yeah,
there,
no, that was
it's-
spectacular.
It's been a wonderful ride so far with this series. We're only 3 episodes in, and it's just getting better and better. The only thing that's going to ruin it for me is Omega. If Omega shows up, I'm out. You guys are running this podcast the rest of the season. So.
Okay, what if it's Omega with Talon Card?
Dude,
Is
if
that
he
is that
was?
the trade-off?
Card.
What price are you willing to pay?
if they try to
Talon
replace
Card?
Mara Jade with Omega, I'm
I'm out.
leaving the Star Wars fandom. I swear to God, that will end it for me. If Talon shows up with Omega and not Mara Jade, nope, we're done.
Next week, the Bar Far Away podcast begins.
While watching this
Yeah.
scene, I thought of this drink.
Yeah. But yeah, excellent picks, guys. These segments, all of these segments were great, and I am excited for the Easter egg one. I think that's going to be a really fun segment moving forward, especially considering this show has been just full of all the references. So, like I said, next week I will have a nice little video made for that, and it'll be a solid part of Quest Me. One thing that has been a solid part of Quest Me. It's the Tuscan Raider, the part of the show where we rate each episode. This week, let's start with Phil. What are you gonna rate this week's episode?
I got to go with another 8. A lot of fun, some good character development, fun new characters, fun new location. We get a little bit of an increase of the stakes because now we've got the upcoming threat of a bounty being placed on Jodnau's head. We know that, we have the official big reveal that he was the captain from the first episode. Well, I mean, we knew, but
Right.
now we know.
We know
and yeah, now we know that you know that we know.
We got a third name too. We got a third name for our
a third
character.
potential alias.
Yeah.
It's I do think there is room for improvement, but so far they've kept the episodes fairly short, tight. We're getting some really good cinematography out of it, as evidenced by our Sarlacc killer shots.
Boom.
Well,
and
I think I like the special effects as well, like the characters, like the Owl Kim and the pirates, like all the
Neil,
aliens.
Smeagol.
They're all very, very
Puppets and
good,
CGI
like-
combined.
Yeah,
right.
no, I mean,
right.
we're
They're doing it right.
Yeah. And our director on this episode, David Lowry, also did The Green Knight, which
I don't know what the Green Knight is.
With
John
Anthony?
Arthurian legend. Yeah, Dev Patel played an Arthurian knight. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
If you have not seen it, you should.
Yes.
It's stellar.
Okay.
But,
That is a good one. That
Okay.
was a great
Oh
one.
God, hang on, my
Yeah.
cat's yelling at me.
Yeah. But yeah, David Lowery directing did a really good job. So yeah, no, I think a solid 8. What about you, Justin?
All right. So I'm gonna be mixed right now. I'm in between a 7 and an 8
Okay.
because
So
I
like
haven't
7.5?
watched it. I don't know yet. I haven't watched it with my little one yet, and she's
Ooh.
totally into the series, just like you, your stepkids are, and that always adds an extra point in my book. But exactly what Phil said. It adds more mysteries, but it still satisfies my curiosity with the Lord by answering a few questions, let alone like it focuses on the main story of these kids being lost in space with a random ass pirate. And I'm excited to see where it goes. It leads up to that. The episode is shot beautifully. I really don't have anything to complain about. So, all right, I just convinced myself. I'm going with 8.
Yeah.
8,
All
8,
right.
maybe 8.5, depending on Audrey's reaction.
Yeah, and I'm totally at an 8 as well. I can't. I don't want to go too much higher yet because I haven't hit that like. I haven't gotten chills yet. It's when the episodes they do something that give you the chills. You know, like Obi-Wan when Anakin and Obi-Wan finally fought together. That just
Mm.
solidified that series. You know, Acolyte when what's his name finally came clean about the whole story and that final battle, and just
Damn you.
there's always a certain scene. I mean, Andor, for instance, when Gollum, Andy Serkis goes on his speech in the jail, dude. Like, just there's
One
always a
way
certain point in the show that like really turns it up, and I'm still waiting for that in Skeleton Crew.
Yeah.
It's still early, obviously, so I can't go much higher than an 8. So
Well,
for all the reasons that you guys have mentioned.
Next week we get Daniels directing the minds behind Swiss Army Man and Everything
No
Everywhere All at
way.
Once. Our
Oh,
version
not
of Star
coming.
Wars.
Hondo! Yeah.
Ooh. Dude, Swiss Army Man is a wonderful movie.
Oh, it's
Just
hilarious.
It's
dead Daniel Radcliffe's farting everywhere. It's great.
Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano, man, that's spectacular.
Yeah.
But
I'm
no,
excited.
I am intrigued to see how they handle the Star Wars story.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Bring in Hondo. Make us all happy.
I'm hoping the episode's a little bit longer. I'm getting a little tired of the 30-minute episodes. I'd like it to be more like a 45 to an hour, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
No, Beggar's Canyon.
Ooh, I just thought of it.
Damn it.
Emperor's eggs.
What'd you say?
Emperor's eggs.
Emperor's eggs?
Yeah.
Maybe
Or
we'll workshop it.
Echo's
Let's workshop that a little bit, yeah. If anyone out there has any ideas for a segment name, definitely throw it out there. Ricky says Spice Miners. I kind of like that. Ricky also said sounds like a Robot Chicken sketch. I'm guessing to the cops.
The cops.
Star Wars
I think it was.
It was.
If you haven't ever watched the trailer for Star Wars Detours, I highly recommend you go watch the like 3 to 4 minute trailer of a show that was made by Seth Green and some of the creators of Robot Chicken. They were doing a comedy Star Wars series called Detours that had 13 episodes made, I think, but it was around the time Disney bought Star Wars, and so they shelved it and never released it. But I don't know. I think there needs to be a petition out there to get this show released because there are some like very comedic things in it that I think they even had some sort of like cops thing going on in the trailer for it. I don't know. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll put the Star Wars Detours trailer in the show notes. And for those of you that are curious, go check it out. It looks like a really, really funny show. Sorry, I don't know why I went on that tangent. I think I got the robot chicken thing and the anyway.
Kevin Rubio, way back when, did Troops.
Oh yes, yes, I remember that.
That was
that was awesome.
That was pre episode 1.
Yes, it was. Oh, that was so cool. I'll have to
know.
give me a link for that if you can find any links to Troops, and I'll throw it in the show notes.
You please.
But other than that, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us this week. Of course, next week we're gonna be here to talk about episode 4 of Skeleton Crew at the same time. It'll be 9 Central, 8 Mountain, on Sunday. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. Yeah, so join us. I haven't really booked any guests. The only guest that I have for this season is Jessie from Crusher Convo. She wanted to make sure that she came on to talk some Star Wars, so she is going to show up, I think, around episode 6 or 7. But yeah, it's
and
just
if you haven't caught up on Crusher Convo, I highly recommend it. She actually just recently posted her interview.
She did it.
Beverly Crusher.
Yeah, she
finally got to talk with Gates McFadden. It's spectacular. So
yeah, it was a great. I watched. I listened to about half of the episode. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's got to be cool for her to have. It's like a dream come true. She got to interview the person that the show is based on. How cool is that? Congratulations, Jessie. If you're out there listening, it's so cool to see that you're doing it. But yeah, like I said, she'll be around at some point this season, and we are excited to get her on here. The better Jessie.
Fucking Ricky.
Get him, Ricky.
With all that, we're gonna go ahead and sign off for this week of Quest Me. And for Quest Me, I have been your host.
I'm Justin.
I'm Phil.
And of course, my name is Josh. We are going to talk at you next Sunday. May the Force be with you.